Golden State stumbling out of the chute here. The Los Angeles Lakers as well. It's kind of a West Coast thing for me. I just like looking at those two teams and truly like just where they're at and like what they're ultimately doing. I mean, obviously the Warriors are in a much better position right now. Just feeling like maybe some of the rotation pieces or lineup decisions haven't really worked out in their favor so far. They just sent James Wiseman to the G League. I think that's a good move for him right now. And it seemed like he was pretty open to it. He didn't really see it as a demotion. So that's positive. Maybe he can, just work on his defense, work on his scoring, just become a true, center, which I think, a guy who can block shots, a guy who can, play good defense, give you some good minutes, early on in his career here and see if he can get back on track. But, also just seeing guys like, Moses Moody getting DMPs like on a constant basis. It's like, are these pieces just, those tantalizing prospects that we look at and we're just like, yo, man, look at this upside here. He's 6'9", he can shoot, he had a great, college run and like, they got him, as their 10th guy. And it's like, we all kind of gush over what this guy could be, but sometimes, reality and, those expectations don't always play out the way you want them to. And, maybe they have to look in the mirror and kind of, make some hard calls if they get to the All-Star break and they're still middling at 500. I mean, I think guys like Draymond Green or maybe a Klay Thompson could be on the block. And, I think I've seen the Anthony Davis rumors for those two guys. And I'm kind of like, I don't really love that for Golden State. I mean, Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis and, he's special when he's on his game. Number one, he's got to be on his game, but also it's just like it comes down to health for that guy. And, I just don't know. I'd be very hesitant if I were the Warriors to shake up, your all-time core and to make some really drastic moves unless, it's really trending, very average or below average, as we get through the season here. So hopefully they turn it around for fans like us, guys who really like Curry, love Thompson, just love that whole unit for the most part. So I think they'll find a way. The Lakers, it's just crazy how it's like they're now 3-10 as of tonight, November 15th, but it's like, where is this team going? And, will there come a point where they're like, well, we're now deliberately tanking because we just want to get the highest possible pick? But it's like, you got to think even deeper than that. Just with a guy like LeBron on the roster, like, is this whole thing done as far as like this run with LBJ and, Anthony Davis? It's like, even if you get that first overall pick, it's, Victor next year, it's like, maybe that would be the one thing that would make this thing move in a better direction. But in the same sense, it's like, I just don't know what to really expect and where this thing will go this year. I mean, I think a Westbrook trade should have happened over the offseason, and it probably will happen, maybe even before the All-Star break, just to kind of shake it up and, save whatever face they can at this point. But it's just like at 3-10 with that, group of talent. I know you don't have the 3-point shooting. The defense has been pretty lackluster, but, Wayne, do you have any thoughts on the Warriors or Lakers or those takes?
Yeah, well, I know with regards to the Lakers, I think that's the funny part is that, and I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but I believe that the Lakers, they traded away potentially this year's pick. I think it's like it might be protected to the Pelicans for the Anthony Davis trade. So in a way, they're tanking for Victor Wembanyama for the Pelicans essentially now. So that's where that could be interesting. Where if they were to just lose all their games and everything, then potentially Victor could be headed over towards the Pelicans. So, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense for Russell Westbrook to be there. It's nice. I think I saw that he came from the bench, but he just does not fit that squad at all. He's somebody that needs to have the ball. Either that, or he just needs to spend an entire offseason doing nothing but shooting and changing his game, basically. So I think that's just my thoughts on the Lakers. They allocated the resources or misallocated the resources they had to have kept. Was it KCP instead of Russell Westbrook. It just was a better fit. They just need to surround the LeBron with shooters, and they really haven't. So I think they're their misfault there. So, but yeah, with regards to the Warriors, I think that it is still early on in the season. They're still trying to figure out the rotations a little bit. Looks like Wiseman just isn't cutting it necessarily at this point. It is one of those things or hard things in the NBA, right? Where it's like, oh, you're 21. Why aren't you an all-star yet? So like, we see that with Lauri Markkanen actually, with the Jazz right now. He's playing like an all-star right now because he's being put in a situation that is conducive towards, maximizing his potential. So that's definitely where it definitely helps to be in a situation where, you are either the focus or you're just put into a scenario that caters towards your strengths. So, I feel kind of the same way with Patrick Peterson too, where, the Bulls are operating with Patrick Peterson kind of being off the ball a little bit more, where
Patrick Williams.
Patrick Williams.
I
see
love
Patrick Peterson?
I love the DB. Yeah, I was like, wait, but I did see Peterson recently picking off a couple balls. But anyways,
yeah. Definitely.
He was a star last week.
Yeah, he was I think he caught it. Like the last interception there, right? So, but yeah, Patrick Williams, who I've talked about a lot in this podcast, but yeah, like Patrick Williams, I feel like he definitely, in my opinion, he needs the ball in his hand more. So he's former point guard, so he definitely is used to that, and then now he's kind of doing things in the pick and roll department more so of, and he sometimes looks lost out there, and that's still developing. So I feel a similar situation I think with Wiseman, as a big man, where he's I think growing up and in college, right, he was kind of used to having the ball in his hand most of the time. Now he's playing off the ball, and that's definitely a big thing for somebody to having to adapt their game for. So, yeah, and the Warriors, obviously they're getting a little bit older, so they might be just pacing themselves. So I'm not panicking, I guess, too much if I'm a Warriors fan, but it definitely doesn't look the best right now. So, yeah, I think those are my initial thoughts. I think with those two teams.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I saw the Knicks. It might have been the Knicks offered, I want to say the Lakers, like Rose and another Evan Fournier or something. And I think that was the extent to it for Westbrook and a first round pick, but it's like this reluctance for the Lakers to give up those 25, 27 picks. I mean, I get it. You've given up your entire cupboard, but if you're holding LeBron James and Anthony Davis, like you got to make that decision of like, hey, this is now or never. I mean, and I feel like that should have been last offseason, but they didn't pull the trigger there. They're doubling down. But another takeaway I have from this is like, is the big three concept like slowly or like immediately kind of dying out of most like GM's perspectives? Like, is this concept of a big three like still something that executives and teams are going to desire moving forward? Like, it's kind of TBD at this point with a team like the Lakers. We got the Nets. It's like, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I guess going back towards Victor Wembanyama potentially going to the Pelicans. Yeah, it looks like the trade for Anthony Davis, they agreed in 2023 that they could potentially swap picks actually. So okay. Yeah. So there is potential that all of this tanking could land Victor Wembanyama to the Pelicans actually. So
there are no protections on that Lakers pick. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe so. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers want to do that because if you paired him up with Zion and BI and McCollum and the rest of that crew, I mean that'd be a pretty dangerous team starting next year.
Yeah. So if I'm them, I'm like, y'all better win and not make us look that bad. So, not get us the number one pick because I mean, it's looking pretty good right now for him. So.